to ever feel like you're your own worst enemy. Like there's an invisible force holding you back, no matter how hard you try to move forward. You set goals, you make plans, but somehow, you always end up right back where you started. This isn't just bad luck. This is self-sabotage, a silent and insidious enemy that erects unseen barriers between you and the life you truly want to live. It's a battle fought within, and today, we're going to learn how to win it. So, what does this internal enemy even look like? It's a master of disguise. It rarely shows up waving a red flag. Instead, it appears in much more subtle, everyday forms. Take procrastination, for example. You have a big project, a dream you want to pursue, but you tell yourself, I'm just waiting for the right moment, or I need to do more research first. This isn't prudence, it's procrastination, dressed up as caution. It's self-sabotage convincing you that waiting is a strategy, when really, it's just a tactic to avoid taking the first step. You're not being careful, you're being scared. The perfect moment will never come because you'll always find a reason why it's not quite right. It's a clever trick to keep you stuck in the planning phase, forever preparing but never actually doing. Then there's its close cousin, perfectionism. This one feels like a virtue, doesn't it? We're told to strive for excellence, but there's a dark side to it. The perfectionist isn't just trying to do a good job, they're terrified of making a mistake. They'll spend hours agonizing over a single sentence in an email, or they'll never launch their business because the website isn't absolutely flawless. This isn't about high standards, it's about a fear of judgment. The underlying belief is, if it's not perfect, I'm a failure. This paralyzes action. Instead of putting something good out into the world and improving it later, you end up with nothing at all. Perfection becomes the enemy of progress. The fear of not being perfect enough stops you from ever being good enough. And perhaps the most relentless form of self-sabotage is that persistent inner voice of doubt. You know the one. It whispers, who do you think you are to try this? Or you're not smart enough, talented enough, or deserving enough. This inner critic is a professional dream killer. It replays all your past failures and magnifies your weaknesses. Every time you get a spark of inspiration, this voice is right there to douse it with a flood of negativity. It convinces you that failure is inevitable, so why even bother trying? It's a constant, demoralizing soundtrack playing in your head, making it nearly impossible to build the confidence you need to take risks and grow. It's the voice that says, I couldn't before you, via even giving yourself a chance to prove you can. Here's the crucial thing to understand. The core of the problem isn't out there. It's not your boss, your partner, your childhood, or the state of the economy. The enemy isn't external. It's internal. Self-sabotage is a deeply ingrained psychological mechanism designed to protect us. It sounds crazy, right? Why would we protect ourselves from success? Because success brings new challenges, new expectations, and the potential for a bigger, more public failure. The familiar comfort of our current situation, even if it's unfulfilling, feels safer than the uncertainty of the unknown. So, our subconscious mind creates these sabotage strategies to keep us in our comfort zone. And to make it all work, this mechanism becomes an expert at shifting blame. It's much easier to say, I didn't get the promotion because my boss doesn't like me, than to admit, I didn't get the promotion because I procrastinated on the key project and my presentation was underdeveloped. By blaming outside forces, we get to be the victim. It feels validating for a moment, but it's a trap. It completely robs us of our power. If the problem is always someone or something else, then the solution is always out of our hands. We become passive spectators in our own lives, waiting for the world to change instead of changing ourselves. This is the ultimate deception of self-sabotage. It convinces you that you are powerless when, in reality, you hold all the cards. The impact of living this way is absolutely devastating. It's a quiet tragedy that unfolds over years, often without us even realizing the full extent of the damage. Think about all the abandoned dreams, a novel that's still just a few chapters on a hard drive, the business idea that never went beyond a notebook sketch, the trip around the world that's always next year. Each one of these is a monument to unfulfilled potential. It's a life half lived. You see others moving forward, achieving their goals, and a part of you feels a pang of jealousy or regret because you know you're capable of more. You know you have that same potential, but it remains locked away. This leads to a repeating cycle that is incredibly frustrating and soul-crushing. You get inspired. You start something new with a burst of energy and enthusiasm. For a week, maybe a month, you're on fire. And then, the old patterns creep back in. Procrastination begins. The inner critic gets louder. You start to doubt yourself. You hit a small obstacle, and instead of pushing through, you see it as a sign that you should quit. So you do. You abandon the project, telling yourself it wasn't the right idea anyway. Then you drift for a while, until a new inspiration strikes, and the whole cycle begins again. Starting, but never finishing. It creates a deep-seated belief that you are someone who just can't follow through, which of course, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This isn't just about missed opportunities. It's about the erosion of your self-esteem and your belief in your own ability to create the life you want. So how do we break free? How do we defeat this internal enemy and finally unlock our true potential? The path to freedom begins with one simple but profound step: awareness. You cannot fight an enemy you cannot see. You have to become a detective in your own life. Start paying close attention to your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. When you feel the urge to procrastinate, don't just give in. Stop and ask yourself, what am I really afraid of right now? When that inner critic starts its tirade, don't just accept it as truth. Recognize it for what it is, a programmed recording from the past. Start a journal. Write down when you sabotage yourself and what the trigger was. Did you get some positive feedback that scared you? Did you reach a new level of success that felt unfamiliar? The goal here isn't to judge yourself, it's simply to observe, to see the pattern. This awareness is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Suddenly, the monster you thought was so huge and terrifying is revealed to be something much smaller and more manageable. Once you have awareness, the next step is to take radical responsibility. This is the antidote to the blame game. Radical responsibility means accepting that you, and only you, are in control of your choices, your actions, and your reactions. It means letting go of all the excuses. It's not about blaming yourself, it's about empowering yourself. Instead of saying, I can't lose weight because my family eats junk food, you say, I choose to make healthier food choices for myself, regardless of what others are doing. Instead of, I can't start my business because the economy is bad, you say, I will find a creative way to make my business work in the current economy. This shift in mindset is monumental. It moves you from the passenger seat of your life to the driver's seat. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. It's scary, yes, because you have no one else to blame. But it's also incredibly liberating, because it means you have the power to change anything. But awareness and responsibility are not enough. The final, and most important, step is to turn that knowledge into consistent practice. This is where the real work happens. It's about creating new habits that override the old, self-sabotaging ones. If your sabotage is perfectionism, your new practice is to take imperfect action. Ship the project at 80% perfect. Post the video even if you think the lighting isn't quite right. The mantra is done is better than perfect. If your sabotage is procrastination, use techniques like the 5-second rule or the Pomodoro technique. Commit to working on your goal for just 5 minutes. Often starting is the hardest part. If your sabotage is the inner critic, you must actively practice self-compassion. When you hear that negative voice, consciously replace it with a supportive one. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend who is struggling. Celebrate your small wins. Every time you choose the new, supportive action over the old, sabotaging one, you are rewiring your brain. It's like building a new muscle. It takes time, it takes repetition, and it takes consistency. There will be days you slip up, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. So, let's bring this all together. Self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It's not who you are. It's a learned pattern of behavior, a misguided protection mechanism that is keeping you from your own greatness. But you are not powerless against it. By shining the light of awareness on these hidden patterns, by taking radical responsibility for your life, and by consistently practicing new, empowering behaviors, you can dismantle this internal saboteur piece by piece. You can reclaim control. You can stop being your own worst enemy and start being your own greatest champion. The potential you feel bubbling inside of you is real. The dreams you've held onto for so long are achievable. The only thing standing in your way is you. And the good news is, you are the one person you have the absolute power to change. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on unlocking your potential. Let me know in the comments one way you're going to start fighting self-sabotage today. See you in the next video.